I hope all of you can see my screen, right? So in the last session, we talk about some of the items, right? Creating your developer org, why we are using Salesforce, and what is CRM. We also talk about how do we go about using account and contact, which comes as an out of the box object from Salesforce, right? We took some example and we talked through it, right? We also talk about how do you go and normalize data, where you'll have some set of data in account and some set of data in contact. And then we talk about little bit about your project, which we are going to work in next 3 to 4 weeks, right? So we'll be working on a project called college. So you will all have you will all have your college as an app created, and then you will create few objects called department, class, employee, and student. Okay. Um, so today we'll start talking about how do you go and create a project within Salesforce, meaning how will you go and build an app for your college. So assuming your college want to manage their information in Salesforce, what are the things you need to do in Salesforce so that you can let your college manage their department information, their class information, employee information, which are like your teacher, professor, and other admin staff in your college, and your students, which you guys have, right? So that's pretty much we'll try to cover as part of this project. Now, first thing first, what you need to do is you need to have some placeholder for your college, right? So what do you do in Salesforce to have your college created? What are we going to do today? We'll go through few object creation. I'll walk you through how we go about creating these objects within Salesforce, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so here is I logged into my Salesforce application, and what am I going to do? We talked about last time that you have multiple options from here on the drop down. We call this as an app within Salesforce. Like I have sales as an app, service as an app, marketing as an app, and there are so many other apps. So first thing, in order to maintain and group all the data related to your college, you will go and create an app with your college name, right? So how do you go about doing it? So in Salesforce, you'll come here on setup, you'll click within setup, and then here you will see you have a quick find. Here you will type app, and when you come down under build, you will see a folder called create, and you will see apps under it, right? So if you click on apps, it will let you create apps. So you will see there are so many apps. So the one which we were seeing here, sales, service, marketing, you can see these apps are already here. I have sales here, I have service here, I have marketing here, right? Similarly, you can go and create your own app. In this example, we'll go ahead and create an app for a college. So I'll create a custom app. So I get two options, custom app or console. I'm trying to create a custom app. So I'll have custom app checkbox selected here. I'll click on next. And this is a place where I have to go and give an app name, right? So I'll go ahead and say JDU. That's my college name. And if I say Jadavpur University, and let me, I'm now trying to create an app. call my college, right? So there are two things. You will see a label, which is whatever you want to call that your college as, right? You can call Patna Women's College. You can call Patna Science College, right? And what happens? And then there is an app name. This is a name which system generate for you, and it will not have space between two. It will always have underscore added by system itself. You should not try to change this unless you need to. So you'll leave it like this. And if you have to add any description, you can add it. It's basically writing some information about what are you trying to do. I can write anything. I can say this app is for my college to manage employees, students, staff, and class information. So you can add all that information and then go ahead and say next. You can select an image if you want. So let's say if you want an image coming out for your college, you save your college image on your desktop and then click here, select that image. I'll leave it blank for now. And now here it talks about all the tabs which are available. You can select for your app. So tabs, what does tabs mean? So what you see here on the top, these are different tabs. Now, in your app, you can decide what tab you want to see. Right now, I do not want to see any other tab because I have not created any object and tab yet. I'm starting with an app first. Home is always a default tab, which you can see here. No matter whatever app I go, I'll always see home. So I'll leave home as is, right? And then I can go ahead and click on next. Now at this point of time, it is asking me that this app should be available to whom. So you will see there are multiple profiles, right? You can select all profile, or you can just select one or two profile which you want this app to be shown, right? So I'll just keep it for Salesforce admin and save. So at this point of time, what I have done, I have created an app for my college, and now I should be able to pick that app from here. So you can see now I can go and pick an app. And since this app has no other tab than home, I am only able to see home, right? So that is the first thing which you guys will be doing as well as part of your this week and coming week assignments, right? So all you belong to different colleges, you'll go and create an app for your college. That's your step number one. Okay, creating an app, it's simple. You go to setup. Here in the quick find and search, just type apps, and you can see in the creates within build create, it will show you apps. You click on this and then click on new, use custom app checkbox, click next, and give your college name, right? So that will become your app, and then follow through the next steps which we just have gone through, right? So that is pretty much how you create an app within Salesforce. Now since I have created an app, now I need to have all that objects associated to the app. I want department object to be there, I want class object to be there, employee to be there, students to be there, because app is just a container. Information will be stored in these objects, which is like equivalent to your tables if you have gone through database. Um, so now next step, I'll go ahead and start creating a department, right? So I'll just copy this label. I'll again come back here on the quick, I'll type object, and here you can see I have under create, I see objects. I'll go ahead and create new custom object. Now, account and contact was your standard object, which is being provided by Salesforce itself. In this case, I want to create all object by myself. So I'll go ahead and create a new custom object. It's equivalent to creating a new table. Okay. So I'll go and say new custom object. I have to give a name for the object. So I'll say department. I can give plural version of it. I say departments. And you can see object name is auto populated. I'll leave it as is. And I'll leave pretty much all other option as is up to this place. And here there are optional feature, meaning when you are creating an object, do you want a reporting capability on that object? So I need it, so I'll select reporting. Do I need activities on it? So do I need to manage on that object? What are my to-do list? What kind of items which I am going to work on it, and I want to manage that information, that I have to go somewhere, I have to meet somebody, all that information if I want to manage, Salesforce provide you an object called activities, which is common across all the objects. So I can go and select allow activities. Rest, I may not decide to select it, so I'll leave it blank for now. Next, I'll leave object classification as is, deployment status as is. Then this is search status, right? So I'll go ahead and select allow search. What does it do, right? So within Salesforce, it's like Google search. You can go and create all that object. So you can create a department, employee, student, and let's say you want to search with a keyword. That keyword, if you come back and type here on the top and then search, then it will look for all 5 6 objects which exist, or every object which exists within Salesforce which may have that keyword. And let's say sing is a keyword I'm trying to search for. Then I type sing, it will look for all that object, and it will only happen when you select this allow search. If you do not select this allow search, then that object will not be searchable. Okay, with this I'll go to the next one, which is adding notes and attachment. So sometimes I want to do an attachment, I want to keep some notes. If so, I'll go ahead and click on add notes and attachment, and that's pretty much. I'm done with my table creation, I'm done with my object creation. Okay, additionally, every object which you see will be shown not as an object, as in tab, right? So if every tab which you were able to see on the sales was a different object associated to it. So what I have created is an object. Now it gives me an option that do you want to launch new custom tab wizard after saving this custom object. That will allow me to associate this object to a specific tab. So I'll select this as well and click on save. So pretty much what are you doing in order to create your object is you will give your name, right? You will put plural label if you want, and then your object and other rest of the information get pre-populated. Then you need to decide, do you want reports, activators? Most of the cases you would want, so I'll go and select these two, and then I'll make sure I enable allow search, right? After that, I'll decide to have notes and attachment on that object, and then I'm going to enable it for tab creation. So I'll go ahead and save it now. And this took me to a tab creation where you will see your objects are pre-populated. And now I have to talk about tab style. So I'm trying to create a department. I can click here on the search icon, and it will show me all different combination which I can use for my department, right? This is basically how do you want to label um, your department or table, whatever you call that out, right? So I'll just go ahead and pick anyone, right? So you can decide to pick, look into the image around it, look and see which one it has building, right? and then you can pick that image, or you can decide whatever way you want to do. So I'll just go ahead and pick, let's say I go ahead and pick company or compass. Okay. So and then that's it. I'll go ahead and click next. On the next screen, it asks me that for which particular profile this tab should be available, right? So right now you see it is default on for everyone. Okay. If I do not want everybody to see this tab, I'll come back and say tab hidden, and then it will make tab hidden for everyone. However, I want Salesforce admin to see this. So I'll select the next checkbox and come back here all the way down. I'll look for Salesforce admin, and for him only I'll say it is default on, and then click on next. In the next step, it is talking about for which particular custom app you want this tab to be available. So here I have multiple app. So now I have to say, if I leave it as is, it will be available for all the apps that exist in the system. I do not want to do it. I want this to be available only for the app which I have created, which is my college app. So I'll select only college app and click on save. So now, as soon as I'm done with the save, you might have seen with home, I have department added as well, right? So that's how you go and create object and tab, which then finally get associated to your app. So I have created an app for my college. I have created an object for my department. And now if I go to department, I'm pretty much ready to start entering data. And I'm done with whatever I needed to do here. Okay, so it's 5-minute job for you to create an object within Salesforce. However, it takes a lot of time if you really go and use your traditional applications, right? Now I'll move to create next other objects which are left. So I will go ahead and create class. Same thing, I'll go to setup. I'll search for objects. I'll click here object. I'll click on new custom object. I'll put label as classes, and I'll allow report activity. I'll also allow it for search. I'll add notes and attachment, and now I'm going to launch a tab. So I'll click on save. And for this class, I'll pick another tab style. Let's say I pick books. Next, I will select all tab hidden for everybody first, and then I'll change it, go to another checkbox, and only for sales admin, I mean system admin, I'll make it default on. I'll go to next. I'll remove from all app. I'll only add this to college app and click on save. I'm done with my classes tab 2. I'll go to the employees. I'll leave it for you guys to do it. I'll move to the next one, which is students. So I'll do the same. I'll search here for objects. Click on new custom object, put students. Rest I'll leave it as is. I'll click on allow report, allow activities, allow search, add notes and attachment, and let's launch the new tab wizard, right? So I'll click on save. I'll pick a file for student now. You can decide to pick anything what you want. I'm just picking randomly one of it. So I'll go and say next. Tab default hidden for all. I'll select another checkbox and then I'll come back for system administrator. I'll say it is default on. Let's say next, remove from all apps and let it be available only for your college app. Click on save. So what I have done so far, I have created an app and I have created an object for managing department, classes and students. I could have also created an object to manage employee. So let's complete that as well. Let me do it. Allow report, activity, allow it for search, add notes and attachment, and let's launch the wizard. So let's go to next. For again, I'll pick some tab style. I'm going to pick anything randomly at this point of time. You can decide to pick how you want to pick. I'll have for system admin default on. I'm going to show this tab only for my college app and save. So I'm done with 4 table creation or object creation within Salesforce for department, classes, student, and employee. Right, so I have all that information. Now I can go to each tab and start creating data. Okay, it was similar to what you have done on account and contact. When you go to a specific object, it gives you an option to click on new, and then you can go ahead and start typing information about your employee. But now at this point of time, you will see I have created all these objects, but they are not related to each other. So what do I mean by that, right? So here, all that objects app was created, all the objects are created, but won't you have class associated to some specific department, right? You have first year, second year, third year class for MCA, for maths, for physics, for chemistry, right? So now I need to manage some kind of association between these objects. How do I manage that within Salesforce? It's basically creating a foreign key reference on your child object, right? So in this case, I have created all the object. Now I have to think what kind of information I want to relate between this object. For example, whenever you create a class, you want to make sure you tell system that this class is associated to this department. Now, how do you do this? That means you have to associate class and department object, right? And if you do so, Right now, if I go to class and try to create, it does not allow me to put in information for which department this is going to get associated to. All I can create a class, but I cannot associate it to any department. So then I'll have list of class and I won't know like which department it belong to. Similarly, I'll have list of students, but I wouldn't know which class those students belong to, right? So now as a next step, I have to make sure I build those relationships. So first, I want to make sure every class will be associated to some department. So how do I go about doing it? Within Salesforce, this foreign key relationship, the way you create is you create a lookup relationship. So what does that mean to you, right? So I'll go again to setup, and here I can go and type objects again. And when I go to objects, it will show me all that objects. Now I want to make sure every class is associated to some department. So I'll go and click on class object. It will take me to the object definition. Some of the input which you have selected, enable reporting, track activities, allow search. You can see all that checkboxes here. And you can also see there are some standard fields which are created, right? Additionally, I'll go and start creating new fields and relationships. So in order for me to do this, I'll go ahead and click on new. And the way I manage foreign key relationship, I'll create a lookup relationship. At this place, it gives you an option to create different type of fields, different data type, right? One of the data type is foreign key relationship. The way I do it, I'll go ahead and pick lookup relationship, and then I'll click on next. Then it asks you, okay, now you are trying to create a lookup. Lookup to what? So I want to create a lookup to department. So I have to, it will list me all that object which exist in the system. I'll look for various department, right? So here is my department object. I'll select department and click on next. Now if I want to change it, I can change it, but I'll leave it as is. Now it is creating a relationship with classes. I'll leave all that option as is. And I'll go and say next. Now it talks about for which particular profile I want this to be visible. I'll remove for all. So the way you remove all, you first select this, it will select for all, and then deselect it, it will remove for all. And then I will only go and do for system admin. So I'll check this for system admin and click next. Now let me go back. So if you have to go back to the previous tab or previous step, you just click on the previous and you'll see there are two kind of option. One is visible and other is read only, right? So if I have to make this read only, I can select read only, but I do not want it to make it read only. All I wanted this to be available and shown to system administrator. So I'll select this checkbox and go to next. Now this field which I just created will be added into the layout, which is your page layout, which you were able to see it here. So I have system has, when you created an object, system has by default created a page layout for you. This is creating HTML, or this is creating JavaScript, or this is creating any kind of UI which you would do with open sources, right? Um, Now I don't have to really worry about it. Why? As part of the process of creating object, system has already created a page for me. So I'll go with that standard page which system provided me, and I'll click on next. At this place, it is saying, how do you want to see this as a related entity? I'll leave it as is, everything default, and I'll click on save. Now at this point of time, now if I go and try to create class, it is giving me an opportunity to associate it to department. Right now I have not created any department, so I won't get any data. Right, so before I go and start creating data, I'll create couple of more relationships. So this is how now every time I'll create a class, I'll have an opportunity to associate that class to a specific department. Now, similarly, you will have employees, right? So let's say I for now, for this example, I have two department, computer science and science. So let's go ahead and create two department for the discussion purpose. So click new, put computer science. Now I save it, or I can click on save and new if I have to add more records. So I'll click on save and new so that I can immediately add another record, which is science. And this time I do not want to add any more, so I'll just click on save. So now if you go to this department, you should be able to see these two departments which I just created. So if I go to computer science, you can see your department name appears here, and then you can see activities. We said that I want activities to be available when we were creating an object, right? So I have activity and activity history. I also said notes and attachments should be there. So notes and attachment are there. And now since I created foreign key relationship with classes, I see classes appearing here as well. Now I have two options. I can go and start creating classes from here. If I say classes from here, you will see department is pre-populated. So I don't have to really pick department. But if I don't do it from here, when I directly go to classes and say new from here, then first I have to type what is the class I'm trying to create. So let's say I'm trying to create MCA first year class, right? So I'll say my class name is MCA first year, and now I have to pick a department. So the way to pick a department is click on the search icon, and it will show you all the departments. So I'm going to pick computer science and save it, right? So that's how now I'm able to create class and department. So now here I have also an option to go back to department by clicking on department name link, and now I can also see all that classes which are associated to that departments are managed here. So this is how your one table or one object was associated to another with foreign key relationship. Here in Salesforce we call that as creating lookup relationship. Okay, so you just completed this part as well. Seventh point, I'll leave you guys to try it, where you will create employee, and employee will be associated to department because every professor in your college is associated to one or the other department, right? So I let you guys do it as part of your assignment. I'll move to one another, which is a student. Student will be associated to department as well as will be associated to classes, right? You are part of computer science MCA first year, or you're part of computer science MCA third year. So here we are talking about having a relationship for two different objects. You can create relationship with as many objects as you want. Okay. So if you go here to student now, Right now, when I create a student, I don't have an option to associate that student to any department or any classes. All I can just type the student here. So next I'm going to go back to setup again and create two lookup relationship. Okay, so I'll search here for objects. I'm trying to create lookup relationship on student, right? So I'll go to a student object, and here in custom fields and relationship, I'm going to now go and create two different lookups. So I'll select this lookup checkbox, click on next. I'm going to pick first object as department. So next, I'll go department, tab it out. Field name will be auto populated. I'll leave rest as is and go to next. I'll select all visible and then remove because I want this to be available only for system admin. I'll say next. I'll leave it to the standard student layout. I'll click next. And here I will just click on save and new as opposed to save because I have to create one more lookup relationship. So I'll click on save and new. And by doing it, it's basically saved me a couple of additional click. It directly take me to the new field creation screen, right? So I'll select lookup relationship one more time. I'll click on next. Now at this point of time, a student association, I want to do it with class. So I'll select class, say next. I'll tab out. Field name will be auto populated. Leave rest of it as is and click on next. Check visible, remove visible, and then go all the way down and select for system administrator. Say next. Use standard layout for student. Say next. Leave it here. Now I'm not creating any more fields, so I'll just directly go and save it. So now if I go to a student and try to create a record, it will ask me to tell from which department and which class. So let's say I'm creating a student called John, right? So then I can go and say this John. I can put all full name, but I'll just say John. And I can say this John belongs to computer science and he also belongs to MCA first year, right? And then I'll save it. So now I am able to create John belongs to this too. Now if you really go to department or if you go to classes, you will see John will appear on both of them. For example, let's go to department. Now on this computer science department, I know what all classes and I know for entire computer science department how many students are associated to it. Right now only one, right? Similarly, if I go to classes and somewhere I want to know how many students are in MCA first year, I'll be able to see all the students here. Okay. So that's how you go and create object within Salesforce. So if you check in 30 to 40 minutes, we are able to create an app. We are able to create a different object to manage information. And now we can just go to college and give it to them. Now this is use this application, use this app. You can manage all your department, classes, student and employee information. Pretty fast. No other place you can do it as fast as you can do it in Salesforce, right? The speed mattered, and that's why Salesforce is very popular in CRM, um, and very popular in the market today. So that's pretty much. I'll take a pause and I'll let if you guys have any questions.